Bing.
Hey, welcome to Over My Head podcast number 7. Back with Will Ruby. I'm
It's
Aaron.
my fault, guys. It's my fault.
We're
I.
talking about the long leave of absence that we've taken.
It's my fault. I'm gonna just own it. I'm sorry to all our sponsors.
hmm Yeah,
Every last one.
the American Sumatra Mandarin Farmers Association, I think. They pulled out. They were
Is that what you're going with? Is that like stuff that was sitting on your desk?
if
Like,
I
where did
had,
those words come from?
if I had prepared, this could have been better. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
All this
just
time to come up with
from the top. Just
sponsor name.
from the top. Goodness
Yeah,
sakes, no, it's fine.
we'll edit all this out as they
Yeah.
say every
hmm
podcast. Great. So what we are talking about today, still got some lime kiln, that trip we took last time. We still have some pictures that we can do like the quick process on, kind of show step by step what my process workflow is with Lightroom and
Okay.
then go into After Effects. The other thing that's kind of exciting is that I've been working on the Timelapse Dolly, trying to get it better and better every time I use it. I basically make improvements, so we can talk through some of those. But
Cool.
first up, let's do a little screen share.
Do 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 do.
This is the screen. So here's Lightroom. Right, you're seeing some pictures and stuff.
I am seeing some pictures and stuff.
Not sure why it shows like that kind of windowed view, but
Oh, I don't think I've even seen this yet.
yeah. So this is one of the pan. What's the name of that device, Will?
It's called a radian.
Yeah. So on the trip to Lime Kiln and Big Sur that we took a month and a half ago.
Sounds about right. It was October, mid-October, late October.
All right, we'll call that a month and a half ago generously.
Yep.
One of the things that we did was we tested out Will's one of his latest devices, the Radian, which is basically a time lapse with a pan. So as it's taking pictures, it's slowly making a pan left or right, clockwise or counterclockwise. So these pictures you're seeing them that. So you can kind of, if you know anything about taking pictures, you'll say those are obviously overexposed, and you would be correct. But what I'm trying to do here is make sure I maintain detail in this McKay Falls. You can kind of see this waterfall that's coming splashing down into the ocean here.
And this is at Julia Pfeiffer. I don't know if it's a park, really. It's like day use only, but it's a really beautiful location.
Yeah, there used to be a house there that is just a foundation now, and it had this amazing view of this beautiful waterfall.
Yeah.
Crazy, right off the one. You should go there, park inside the white lines.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's worth the effort.
it's worth the effort. It took us maybe an extra 5 minutes to get our car inside of those white lines, but
Right.
every other car had
Yep.
a parking ticket on it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we did it.
yeah. So what I would generally do is I'd go to the center of a time lapse like this. You can kind of see at the bottom here. I'm hoping. Can you see the bottom home strip?
No, I can't. Maybe resize the window?
I'm going to change my screen sharing so that it's the entire window. Not afraid.
All right.
Okay, so the entire Lightroom. It's much more useful.
There you go. There you go. Seeing everything.
So what's
Got
happening?
18 updates pending. Okay, sorry.
I don't know, there's a lot going on, obviously. Yeah, so generally when you import pictures into Lightroom, I always put them in folders by date, and that's fine. But what tends to happen is when we're out on these time-lapse trips, we're shooting more than one time-lapse in a day. So what I like to do is take all of the pictures from a single run and add those into a collection. So what I do is I select all the pictures from a single time-lapse and then go to Collections, Create Collection, and what that gives you is the ability to name it, put it inside a collection set, and then also include all those selected photos that you already picked out.
Right.
And that's what I've done here. So these are all in the collection McKay Falls Bay. I'm not sure if that's an official name, but
Yeah,
That's
hen. I buy
um,
it.
yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah, totally. So that's like 529 pictures. We started it once and then started it again in the middle of the run. So I've selected in red here the beginning of the second run,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna go to like the center of that pan and make some adjustments to exposure and contrast and white balance and all that stuff there. And then
Okay.
I'm going to take those settings and synchronize them to the rest of my pictures in the set so they all match.
Right.
This is assuming that we're taking pictures on like a manual setup on the camera, so there's not going to be any exposure changes across the time lapse. The camera's not readjusting exposure throughout. You want to set it once, and then that'll give you a consistent look across the set.
Right. Aaron, quick question. Are you downloading anything? Because you're roboting on my end, and I'm not sure if it's me.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
The only thing that could be happening is that someone else in my household may have turned on a web streaming service.
That's I mean,
It
that
could
just
happen.
doesn't seem possible. It's all right. I think I've understood everything you've said. The audio quality may suffer a bit is all, but it's okay. So
Okay,
start in the middle, doing the settings.
right. So I'm gonna switch over to my develop module here, and I'm gonna first thing I'm gonna do is kind of try to fix these highlights a little bit. Um, I'm trying to maintain that shadow detail, but it's blown out the white of these
Yeah.
a bit.
hmm
But I can do a lot to fix that. I think it was white, those waves. So right now I've brought the exposure down a little bit. I've kind of crushed my details in my shadows too much, so I'm gonna bring my shadows like back up. Um, most people will tell you the one thing you don't want to do is uh, lose your highlights because you can kind of always bring up your shadows, but we went in the opposite direction here. Not what I usually do, but that's what we ended up doing on this one.
Yeah.
Let me take you can see my histogram here. I'm not peaking anymore, like the whites are there, but they're at like a 95% of the luminance value available.
Right.
Yeah, not really hitting my blacks. I can kind of bring my blacks down right in this histogram so they're at least using that full range.
Right.
And that's kind of nice and contrasty, and you got this good color in here too, but I still feel like I'm losing too much detail here. And I'm
Yeah.
also anticipating maybe like a crop into this time lapse, so I really would like to kind of feature this rock. I love this outcropping here.
hmm
Let me just try to bring it up a little more. Like it's obviously it's in deep shadow, but I
Right. Pull
just
it out as much as you
I just want
can.
to see a little bit of detail in there, just so it's not totally lost. I want to see that rock detail. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, for purposes of demonstration, that's pretty good. I might cheat a little and like up this vibrance just a touch to get those blues like really
No, it's
popping.
not cheating. It's Adobe image magic. It's good. You
That's
can
right.
use it. Hmm.
Yeah, saturation and contrast are kind of the things that people who don't know a ton about pictures are looking for to be like, wow, Zowie. Like they're looking at that stuff.
Yeah, and I think Vibrance is like a local version of that. Like
Yeah,
it's doing things based on where it is in the image as well.
yeah. So vibrance is kind of like a saturation boost with a cutout in the pink, red, yellow tones of like
Is that right? Okay.
yeah. And then I think you're kind of thinking of clarity, but you might be right.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking of.
Okay, so we're not going crazy on these sliders. Nothing's pegged to 100. But let me.
hmm
The thing that's awesome is I've got all my pictures still selected in this set, and I can synchronize all of those pictures to the settings that I now put onto this picture.
What did you hit to synchronize? I
Yeah,
didn't see that.
there's a sync button right down here.
Oh, it's under my face.
Oh, okay. So in the bottom right corner, at the
Yeah.
bottom of your like adjustment
It's
tools,
about where my nose is.
you're seeing a sync button, and where
All
you
right.
sync, and then all of these are like all of the different values you could sync. We checked quite a few of them, and then we're gonna hitting synchronize is a quick operation, and you can kind of see at the bottom of the window these thumbnails starting to update as Lightroom is catching up.
Right.
So you'll see a little bit darker, a little bit more vibrant, even in the thumbnail. And then let's go back to the beginning of the set, and we'll kind of check to make sure we're still happy with those settings.
Right.
Let's just let Lightroom.
There it is.
Pretty cool. I think that's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Certainly good enough for this demonstration of the workflow. And we'll just check this last image also.
Yeah, make sure that waterfall is there.
Yeah, so we're seeing the waterfall. Honestly, the blacks are a little bit deep, but
Yeah.
I'll bring this up at a later date. So while these are all still selected, the next thing I want to do is export um, like high quality JPEGs of these pictures. I'm gonna go to File, Export.
I'm excited to do this while also video streaming.
Yeah, you might hear my fan come up.
Yeah.
I'll put these in a specific folder here.
That click
Sorry,
it comes through in such an interesting way. It's not even like a tick. It's like a weird paper cutter noise. Or like a hole punch maybe would be a more accurate description.
Sorry about that. So, and I'm gonna resize these down to about 4 megapixels. It's similar to like a 4K.
Right.
Similar to 4K. Let's make them 5 because I will crop in, and then I'll still have room to make a 4K version if I want to.
Right.
Cool. So that'll take a few minutes to run, of course. So we'll see like Lightroom doing its thing, and we'll try to come back to that at the end of the episode. Cool.
All right.
That was it. Quick and easy. You just do that thousands of times.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to show everybody was the updated Timelapse Dolly. You may remember what it looked like before. There was just a single. Right now, here's the new one.
Oh yeah.
So right, you've seen two of these dollies that I bought. I found them on eBay for relatively inexpensive. And what I've done here is I've attached them one on top of the other. And what that's doing is it's making it impossible for the dolly to ever fall off of the track.
Impossible's pretty strong language. Very unlikely.
Tempting the
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's making it much more difficult. What I'll do is insert the track between these wheels, and there's just not enough clearance under normal circumstances for the dolly to ever really like fall off.
Yeah, so the rail is held together by these end capping pieces that are conduit joints and are a little bit taller than the conduit itself.
That's right. And then it'll probably actually run. Whoa.
Yeah, hey, camera. Storage solutions.
That's perfect.
Bring us down. Bring us down.
Oh, wait. Hold on. You all right?
A little bit more. Oh, a little too much. It's kind of in the middle. There you go. That was sort of the.
This is live TV, guys.
Yeah, we're dropping some frames too from all this image encoding, I'm sure.
Oh, that's probably true. Yeah. So the idea is for it to actually run upside down like this, which you heard just now, with me dumping my time-lapse dolly out onto my MacBook Pro.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
It's probably fine.
Yeah, I think the stepper motor took a chunk out of the top of my computer there, but that's good.
Oh, well.
So what this lets us do is that there's weight of the motor and all the electronic components kind of counterbalancing the weight of the camera that's going to be mounted on top of this.
Right.
Um, it's helping it be a little less top-heavy because of the weight of the camera with a lens on it
Right.
is pretty significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the idea.
And then are we also, like, as part of this Dolly refactor, we're gonna do the drive on the Dolly, right?
Right, exactly. So you're seeing that, like, right now, the stepper motor is now mounted, instead of at the end of the track, it's going to be on the dolly itself.
Right.
That old dolly still exists. I didn't tear it apart.
Right.
This doesn't work, but I'm trying to show you what that would be. Yeah, so the shaft of the stepper motor comes up through the component box.
Right.
And what I'd like to do is attach a tiny little gear to that shaft.
Mm-hmm. A little sprocket.
Yeah, space little sprocket. And then attach a larger gear to the center of the component box.
Right. Yeah. It's for that torque increase.
It'll give me a little more mechanical advantage.
Right.
Which will help, because it did add some weight to the whole system by adding the second dolly.
Right.
Yeah, and that should work pretty well, I think.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that this is like an electrical conduit box. The dolly track is also electrical conduit.
Mm-hmm.
And this attached to these dolly parts, like this dolly chassis, with like no modification. The holes in the electrical box line up with the holes on the dolly. So it's all
right.
stuff, which is really nice. The only hole I had to drill was in the top of the box.
Right, for the motor.
For the motor shaft to poke through.
Right.
Which is awesome because it kind of goes towards like just having a nice solid piece of equipment that will like, perform the way I need it to every time.
Right. Yeah, we don't want it to really seem that custom. We want it to just work.
Okay. Yeah.
So your fake sponsor should have been Conduit Producers of America, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
That'd have been a good one.
Cantex makes this box.
No, we're not going to give it to a real organization without actually being sponsored. So don't buy anything from Cantex.
Cantex. This is
until they pay us. But support your local American conduit producer. Unless you're not an American, then support your local wherever you are conduit producer.
I feel like that was pretty inclusive, Bill.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, man.
Nice. Yeah. So let me just check in on this Lightroom export.
I saw like your screen, the bottom of your video for just a frame went gray, so I assume that that means success.
Wow. I don't think so. It says it's still exporting.
Oh, it did it again. It did it again.
Yeah, it's doing about one every couple seconds, and there's quite a few to go. So.
Yeah, there's 300, I think.
Yeah. So we'll fill time as much as we can, and then we can use whatever JPEGs end up being created for the next step.
Right. So how are we going to fill time?
That's a good question. The other thing I wanted to show you is they also sell like this dolly piece without the cutout wheels. Cutout wheels let it go on the track, obviously.
Right.
This new,
they do like roller skate wheels or whatever?
Yeah, this new version actually came with these skate wheels attached to it, so you can use it as like a tabletop.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
To do like little product shots. And these wheels rotate. Each axle will rotate, so you can do a little circle.
Right.
So you can kind of like set your focus on the product and then maintain that distance.
Right. That's cool.
Which is huge.
Yeah, you could just get another piece of conduit maybe, and make a little like center point to rotate around. Keep a nice uniform distance.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it would have to be mounted like above whatever you're shooting.
Or below. Either way. It would need to not be what you were shooting, probably.
Under the table, you're thinking?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, with a riser of some kind.
yeah. Yeah. The other thing I could show you guys, and actually the original idea for this episode was the um, power regulator that I'm working on.
Okay. I was
It's
just looking for an actual conduit industry association.
I'm sure
Um,
there's got to be a trade show somewhere.
yeah, I'm not seeing one. Like a conduit trade association is what I want. Uh, no, that doesn't look good. There's one for plastic pipes. Is that close enough?
Uh,
Not,
I think
not
my
really.
are some sort of like maybe anodized steel or aluminum.
National Hydropower Association? Like, this is not working out.
Hydropower, you're getting way far away
Yeah.
from
No,
it.
the first result is the Plastic Pipe Institute, which is a trade association representing the plastic piping industry. It's not great.
So what if you need a study that goes your business's way, you would tell them.
It contains technical information about the use of plastic pipe for water drainage, fuel, gas, conduits, etc. Uh,
Um,
they share a common interest in broadening awareness and creating opportunities to expand market share and extend the use of plastic pipes in all of its many applications.
to extend the use of plastic pipes.
They also, and this is pretty great, they have a ticker HTML element, one of those ones that just scroll stock ticker style. And it's not quite fast enough. New gas component manufacturers database. Click here. New honorary. Hit the end. Uh, membership guidelines. Click here. There you go.
It seems like that was something that was really cool in 1998.
They have a like an OK logo. It's a little big. Yeah, this isn't a great fit for us, I don't think. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, now that we've badmouthed them, I'll try to reach
Yeah.
out
So
to you.
this power regulation circuit. Now, let's hear about that.
Yeah. We only
Mm-hmm.
want sponsorships from products that we use and enjoy in our actual lives. I think.
We started operating at a loss, Aaron. I think I'm comfortable continuing to do that for the near future.
What
When we
loss?
find the right sponsor for us. That's all. That's all.
Oh yeah, the loss you're talking about? That's our lavish salaries, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, we do pay ourselves for our time.
Oh yeah, I think
Unfortunately, we pay ourselves for our time.
right. That's
It's
only,
actually it's a net zero.
well, I think you should pay me and I'll pay you.
But like, how do we decide rate for that?
I think I quote you a rate, and I also quote you a rate for yourself.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So it's still in at zero. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Power regulation circuits.
Right. So I'm reading this book called Make Electronics, all about making practical applications for electronic circuits.
And this is by the Make magazine people, big name in hobby electronics stuff.
Right. Yeah.
They're kind of the Radio Shack of this modern age. Now that Radio Shack has kind of jumped the shark.
Radio Shack still exists, by the way.
No, I'm aware.
I purchase things from them on occasion, although I have trouble sourcing parts with the correct values from them.
Oh yeah, no, they're not great.
They're not great. Sorry, but this book by Charles Platt I have on my iPad, and this is kind of the circuit that I'm talking about. You can see it on the left, right there.
Mm-hmm. I think we might be losing something in the reproduction.
Sure. Both of those are it. The picture.
Yeah, a very tidy breadboard.
Yeah. So the idea of this is that this black piece with a silver grounding bit on the backing of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a voltage regulator, a 7805. You're supposed to use that. You're supposed to feed that at least 7 volts of power, and it's going to feed out 5 volts of nicely regulated voltage for your Arduino to run off of.
Okay.
The idea there is that I could use one 12-volt battery to run the entire system.
The whole system, instead of using that battery brick solution, which we used with some success.
Yeah,
Seemed to
so
work.
right now we're currently having to use two different power sources, one at 5 volts for the Arduino and another one at 12 volts to run the motor, which needs that higher voltage to get like turning torque.
Right.
The problem is like it's just not a clean solution from like a product-y kind of
Right.
standpoint. It'd be so nice to plug in one battery and be like, this is what powers the thing. And
Right.
it had a 12-volt leg that the stepper motor driver was on.
Right.
A 5-volt leg that the Arduino was on.
Yeah.
With a common ground, right? That would work.
Yeah, sure, man.
Grounds need to be tied together.
Oh, hey, I just fed back in a major way.
Nice.
Yeah. It's stopping now. That's weird. I really heard Sherman clearly.
Huh. We'll see if it's in the report.
I'm all about the process today, Aaron. I'm all about it. I'm covering all the things.
About the act of podcasting.
Right. Also, I think it's the National Electrical Manufacturers Association would cover conduits.
They're a good
So,
company.
no, it's a trade association.
Right. Yeah. No, I've heard of them and would be proud to represent them to our audience.
Well, let's look at their website first. How's our exports going?
Let's check them out. So we're about halfway done, which is...
Oh, we're doing good. So this regulator circuit, it has a 12-volt leg and a 5-volt leg. It's all on the one power switch. Like, it would be really tidy. Does the Arduino or the the easy driver need to come up first? Or is it okay for them to just wake up at the same time? They were doing that originally, I guess.
They could pretty much wake up at the same time. The stepper motor driver isn't sending any signal until it receives a step transmission from the Arduino.
Right, and the Arduino, as it's set right now, waits a tick anyway, right?
Yeah, a little bit of a tick, like half of a second, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see an issue there. I think it should power up fine. We'll have to test it, obviously.
Test it, of course, yeah. But no, I think that sounds really good because that 12-volt battery we use will power it until the sun goes dark, I think. Like, we've never had an issue with that thing going dry on us.
I said heat death of the universe earlier today when the guy looked at me like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the sun exploding and stopping...
That would stop the time lapse, probably.
Yeah.
Though it's not really ideal conditions for time lapsing anyway.
Well, and I think you might run into the problem of the red giant that engulfs our planet just from the time lapse before the sun stops shining.
Yeah, well, it's just short exposures. Like, just run video. Just run video, you know?
That's true.
With all that ambient light around.
True. Completely insane, but true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just going to set up a quick Premiere project here that I can open, and then I can kind of show you the rest of this workflow.
Okay. I'm looking at the sorts of products the NEMA Trade Association proudly encompasses. I haven't seen conduit yet, but there's a lot of types of cable. There's more types of cable than I would have... Oh, no, here it is. All types of flexible metal conduit as identified in Article 348 of the National Electrical Code and in compliance with UL 1/CSA C22.2, number 56.
Flexible, you say?
Yeah, all types of liquid-type flexible metal conduit as identified in Article 350. So is this not right? We're not flexible. No, you know, whoa, actually, there's an asterisk, flexible metal conduit only?
Yeah,
This might not be the right trade
I think
association.
they most certainly don't have anything to do with our sort of conduit.
Well, I mean, this is just one page. They also have building systems. Do you think it'd be in there? That was in cabling. That was the top level category.
That could be. That's kind of the main use for electrical.
Oh, you know what? I think this is the right one. American National Standard for Electric Rigid Steel Conduit. There you go.
They
We
do have
found it.
conduit.
Yeah.
Okay. Take down their info and make sure
So
to.
that's www.nema.org. And they got all the information on the relevant standard bodies for electrical conduit.
And we just want to start plugging them regardless.
Yeah, you're welcome, America. No, I mean, you said you wanted to only plug people who were using their product in real life, and that's these guys. We're using their product in real life.
That's true. I have at least
Yeah,
$30 of their conduit.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they are looking for interesting new markets to exploit. And
Yeah, no, I think they're very interested in social media. Make sure to @reply. They probably have a Twitter, so find their Twitter and just @reply them. Say we sent you, all three of you.
cool. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So here, let me share my screen again before we go completely off topic.
What are you saying?
No, I think that was great, and
Yeah, I thought it was a great bit.
I agree. All right, so we are sharing the screen. You can see Lightroom is still chugging away at these files, but
Mm-hmm.
about 170 have been created, and it's plenty to do what we're doing.
All right.
I started a new project in Premiere Pro, and what I'm going to do is import that JPEG sequence as an image sequence, and I can take like a bunch of JPEG images and import them as frames of a video.
Right.
That way I can kind of manipulate them.
And there's that little grayed out box at the bottom people will notice. So when the importer detects there is an image sequence, that option becomes available.
Right. So here's my tape files. You can see a ton of JPEGs being created.
Right.
More all the time.
Looks like we're at the wrong end, yeah.
Yeah, so here's the start. We're going to import as an image sequence, so Premiere's going to look in this folder and be like, oh, these all go together. And it, oh, and I'm a liar. So that, sorry, that imported just that JPEG. Let's try that again.
Whoopsie doodle.
Image sequence, select all of them.
No, I thought you did select the first one.
Let's see what this does.
I think that's going to import
just the individual files.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Over my head. It's the. I gotta say.
That's right. That is the name of the podcast.
Right.
So hopefully we can see.
I'm impressed with your laptops champing it up right now with all of these multimedia tasks you're throwing at it all at once.
Yeah. So that imported all the individual JPEGs, which you don't want. I'm getting rid of those. So I'll start with just this one, hit image sequence, and hit import.
Yeah, I wonder if it got thrown by like a half-complete file at the end.
Yeah, maybe. So that one worked. So here you can see it has a little film strip icon, and it's actually a piece of video. It's going very slow because on full res.
Right.
5K files. And my computer's doing a million things. But you kind of get the idea.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, it's a bit jerky there, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I think your computer is a little sad.
It's sad. But you can have a sense like this is now a piece of video that I can manipulate in like a Premiere Pro project, which is awesome. This is set right now to 2997 for a frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
I can adjust that. I pretty much everything I'm working on is 23976, so I'll just go to interpret footage and I'll assume that frame rate, 23.976. And so that will end up doing is actually just make my time lapse play a little longer, so it's about 10 seconds. Which is totally awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kill that.
Yeah, I think we're at the upper limit of the things we can expect your computer to do right this second.
Let me get out of Premiere, and yeah, cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
then like the last remaining step would be just to export that and render it,
right.
which is probably a little ambitious.
Yeah,
Um,
or cut it in with other time lapses and add music
right,
and stuff.
right, and do a cut. All right.
Yeah, but if you're like preparing for stock media or whatever, you would just do the one time
Right.
lapse, make sure it looks pretty at both ends, and send it to go.
Mm-hmm.
That those files were also like 5K. So what I would want to do actually is put those in a 1080p sequence or
Right.
or a 4K sequence, and maybe do a little animation on that shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
that's good. So you just do that for each one of your shots, and you can cut them together.
Yeah, it's interesting you use Premiere. I actually use After Effects for that same task, which is like six one way, half dozen the other, because they
Yeah,
even use the same encoding stack.
I've done it in After Effects too. It works about the same way. The other way I've done it is using QuickTime. You can open an image sequence and
Right.
tell it to assume a specific frame rate and play it back.
Right. The
And
other option, if you're on Windows and don't have QuickTime, is Processing has a time-lapse compositor. So there's quite a few options, actually. The Processing one doesn't give you a preview. It just spits out a video. So if that's not what you want, you gotta do one of the other solutions. But
it's basically you're writing a script that's saying take all these images and make.
no, it's got just a little widget for it. And the reason it has a little widget for it is because one of the uses of processing is to make video art. So you export a bunch of frames and then you need to stream them together. So it's included in the package.
Hmm,
So that's a good free resource to do it if you really need to string a bunch of pictures together.
right, and you don't
It,
use Premiere.
right. Or if you're on Windows. Yeah.
Right. Well, they do make that software for Windows.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think that's about wrapping up for today, and then I'm sure we'll do more of these soon. We're going to be together around Christmas time, so
Right.
we might have
Mm-hmm.
a two people and one camera episode.
That'd be weird. Let's just go to opposite ends of the house and just continue to do.
Yeah, no, I'll get on the neighbor's Wi-Fi, and that should
Yeah,
be fun.
that's a good idea. No, I think we'll probably have a appropriate level of stutter if we were just both on the same Wi-Fi, because it's the two streams
Smart.
going out on the same. That'll work. I think that's a good plan. Let's
All
just
right.
plan on that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for
See you
watching.
next. Bye.